Good afternoon, WordStreamers, and welcome to our webinar, The Greatest Introduction to Paid Search Ever. And in this presentation today, I'll be jamming in the last 10 years of my paid search experience in just 40 minutes for you today. So today's presentation is brought to you in part with PPC University. PPC University is an awesome collection of paid search learning resources that is designed to help you master the art of pay-per-click advertising for your business. And you can visit it on the web at www.wordstream.com/learn. We have an exciting agenda prepared for you today, as I was talking about earlier. We're going to start with who should be doing paid search marketing. Next, we'll talk a little bit about how AdWords actually works. And then armed with that information, we'll be looking for ways to exploit how AdWords works to win in a sort of weird way. So I hope this is very exciting for you. And just a little bit about me. My name is Larry Kim. I'm the founder and CTO of WordStream. I started the business about 6 years ago, but actually I've been doing paid search for about 13 years. And I write a lot about paid search, and it's my goal in life to help small businesses be successful at paid search. A little bit about my company, WordStream. We're located in Boston, founded in 2007. Last year, we were the 184th fastest growing private company in the United States, according to Inc. magazine. We've won numerous awards for our product. And what it is that we sell is it's something called PPC Advisor, the 20-minute paid search work week. It's a PPC management platform that you can try out for free. We also have a lot of 100% free tools, such as the landing page grader and the AdWords grader, and we also do some PPC management services offerings as well. So enough about me and the company. Back to our program, and basically, guys, in the matrix, there's this notion of a red pill and a blue pill, representing sort of the choice between embracing reality or embracing ignorance. And so, unfortunately, guys, in AdWords, the sad truth is that millions of small businesses have taken the blue pill. So Google just isn't really transparent with how AdWords works, and as a result, a lot of these small businesses, they actually end up getting burned. And it's because it's so confusing. And so in my presentation today, we're actually going to be taking the red pill. I'm going to be showing you sort of the reality of how AdWords really works. And I was saying earlier, armed with this knowledge, I hope that you'll be able to make smarter decisions to help grow your business even more profitably than you were previously. Now, just a quick warning here. I'm going to be going through a lot of information here today. 127 slides in just 45 minutes. That's about 20 seconds per slide. So, when I said this was going to be the greatest, the weirdest introduction to paid search, I did not mean to say that this would be sort of the dumbed down, idiot's version of paid search. It's going to be, the weirdest introduction, but there's lots of data and lots of information here, so I need you to kind of close your door, stop what you're doing, and focus your attention as best as you can for the next few minutes, because we have a lot of interesting information to cover here. Starting with, at a high level, who should be doing paid search marketing, and why? And also, let's talk about that notion, like who really clicks on paid search ads, because I think they're related. So you've probably noticed, like if you've done a Google search in the last 3 years, which is pretty much everyone, that Google has been getting a lot more aggressive at pushing ads into their search engine results page. Take for example this particular search for stainless steel dishwasher. Now, I'm sure you've all seen this before. The ads are actually taking up 85% of the screen real estate. Now, you might be thinking, whatever, nobody clicks on these ads, right? Well, there could be a point here. On average, paid search clicks accounts for maybe a tenth of the total clicks on Google. So 1 out of 10 searches ends up going to an ad, if you're counting on all of the searches across Google in general. But the click-through rate for ads varies greatly depending on the type of keyword search that people are executing. So for informational searches, such as, weather in Boston, that's a type of search where the intent of the user is just to figure out something. So that's called an informational search. So Google doesn't even bother showing any ads at all for these types of searches because the person executing the search isn't looking to buy anything. But for searches with high commercial intent, such as, people looking to buy a product or service, people actually don't mind clicking on ads. They find them to be helpful and useful because they're looking to buy something. And so that's why Google ends up showing so many ads for these commercial keyword searches. So for these searches with high commercial intent, what we're finding is that 2/3 of the clicks end up going to the ads. And these commercial searches with high commercial intent are the most valuable to businesses because they're being searched on by people who are actively in the market to buy your products and services. So from a high level, I definitely think that it makes a ton of sense for people, like if your business involves selling stuff that people are searching for, I think it definitely makes sense for you to buy ads, at least for sort of a targeted set of the most relevant, keywords for your business. Now, pay-per-click marketing isn't free. You actually have to pay every time someone clicks on your ads. And so people who are new to paid search, they always ask me, how much does it cost when someone clicks on my ad? And the answer is it's a little bit complicated, but I can give you some averages here. It varies based on sort of your geographic targeting in your industry, but you can kind of see some trends here. Notice how the finance industry is sort of higher average cost per click versus, say, travel or shopping. Now, keep in mind that these are just averages. I don't want any of you guys to be average. I want you guys to beat the average by like 200, 300, 400%. But on average, that's kind of where the cost per clicks are today. People also always ask me sort of, what about conversion rates? How many clicks do I need to buy in order to generate one kind of action on my site? So, for example, a sale or a lead for my business. Now, this chart here, it's showing the average conversion rates for different industries. So this is just data that I've compiled. All of this is stuff that we've compiled internally here. What you can see here is that in finance, there's a lot of commercial intent, like 6.12% of the people who click on these ads end up turning into sales or leads. And I think that's why, maybe why they're so valuable. It's because, like maybe you're looking for, refinance your mortgage or some kind of life insurance product. You go to Google and you search for it, and then you end up buying it. And so, again, pretty good conversion rates across the board. These are just averages. I want you to beat these averages by 2-3 times, and I'll even show you how to do that in just a few minutes. But again, just painting a big picture here, if you combine sort of the average cost per click and the typical conversion rates for the different industries, I can give you sort of a rough estimate in terms of how much you might expect to pay per sale or per lead on your website according to your industry. By my estimation, here's the data. So say you're selling like computer software, for $500 a month. If you can expect to acquire leads for that, computer product at around $29.02 per lead. Okay, so hopefully all of this high-level data is just giving you a good idea of the economics of a typical paid search account, which should hopefully help guide your decision to figure out whether or not PPC will work for your business. In general, I think paid search does great if you're selling sort of a product or service where people are looking for something specific, but they just don't know where to get it. So if you're old enough, think, back 15 years ago, think about this thing called the Yellow Pages, and all the types of businesses that used to be listed in there, like lawyers, doctors, dentists, movers, those are the types of businesses that do outstandingly well. Now, because you have to pay for clicks, companies that have higher margins are going to do better, than people with like razor thin, like 50-cent margins. Especially if you have like higher margins or the possibility of repeat business. So like even if a software product is just $49 a month, that's recurring. Like maybe you could make that up over a longer time. So repeat business is key. a final thing to consider here is competitive pressure. So like, do a Google search for the keywords that are relevant to your business, and kind of see who else is showing up there. Are your competitors doing paid search? If they are, there's a possibility that you might want to consider not being left behind. Okay, so now we've kind of talked a little bit about, should I be doing paid search? Shift gears here a little bit, talk a little bit about how AdWords actually works. Now, my take on this is AdWords is just a game, like a video game where there's winners and losers. And if we're going to be investing money in paid search, let's invest to win. So when I first started doing advertising in Google back in 2001, so that was like, wow, 13 or 14 years ago, there was no automation at all. Now, in order for me to create ads on keywords that I was interested in on Google, I would have to call a Google sales rep. On the phone, I would email him a list of keywords. He would then, a few hours later, he would email me back sort of pricing proposals that we could review and negotiate together. This was how it worked, 13 years ago. It was a really time-consuming manual process. It was annoying, the negotiations and stuff, and it could take weeks. Now, none of this happens today. Today, AdWords is a totally automated platform. It's run by a computer algorithm called Quality Score. There's no back and forth with human salespeople negotiating sort of how many impressions or how many, how much should you pay per click. There's none of this negotiations. It's totally based on a computer algorithm called Quality Score. So in order to win at this game, you really need to understand how these algorithms really work. And now Google doesn't actually tell you how they work, and so that's where people get tripped up. But I'll share with you how they work in just a few minutes here. So basically, you have this thing called the AdWords auction, fully automated. There's over 3 billion searches on Google every day, people looking for all sorts of things. There's over 3 million advertisers on AdWords. Every time this happens, Google does an instantaneous ad auction to figure out 3 things. Okay, first, who's the pool of eligible advertisers who've expressed interest in a particular keyword search? Second, the computer has to decide what order should competing ads be ranked in, since more often than not there's multiple companies that are all interested in the same keyword, and they can't all be in the first spot, right? And thirdly, Google needs to decide how much to charge the advertiser in the event that a user clicks on that ad. So in 2001, back in the day, this had to be done by negotiating with a salesperson, and now it's done by this computer program. Let's find out how this computer program actually works in detail, starting with how Google determines the ranking of competing ads. Now, obviously, your ad ranking matters because AdWords is like real estate. It's all about location. Ads that are placed prominently on top of the page are much more likely to be clicked on than ads sort of at the bottom of the page. And when was the last time you went to page 2? It's like probably never. And so let's figure out how Google ranks competing ads. So in this example, you've got 4 advertisers, advertiser 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all competing for the same keyword, so we've got 4 contestants in this ad auction. Let's find out who wins the top spot. Advertisers can specify their maximum cost per click amount. That's kind of like on eBay, where you specify sort of the most I'm willing to pay for this item. Now, unlike eBay, there's this other factor that's very important called quality score that's playing a huge role here. So quality score, it's just a score from 1 to 10, 1 being awful, 10 being amazing. It's based on the quality of your ads. I'm going to be talking to you more about this shortly, but for now, the key takeaway is that Google doesn't like to show ads that are dumb and nobody clicks on. They don't like to show those ads. So you want to have a high quality score. And so as a result, rather than just simply ordering the ads based on the bid amount, ads are ranked by something called ad rank, which is calculated by multiplying your keyword bid times your quality score And notice how the first advertiser one, who has the lowest bid of just $2, he wins the top spot in this ad auction because he has got a very high quality score of 10. So 2 times 10 equals 20, which is the highest ad rank score overall. So key takeaway, it's not just about how much you're willing to pay. It's actually more about how good a job of keyword and ad selection you do. So next question, you're probably wondering, okay, so I get that quality score is important. What's an average quality score? So again, Google doesn't even tell you this stuff. This is all stuff that I had to reverse engineer using, all sorts of crazy math. But basically, we looked into it today. Typically, in an account, you'll have like hundreds or thousands of different keywords. Each of those keywords and ads are going to have different quality scores, so you're going to have like a little bit of a distribution, some, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. But if you were to average the distributions across all of the keywords in AdWords, it's around 5 out of 10 is the average score, and that's been falling. So previously, like a few years ago, the average was more like 7, and today it's 10, meaning Google has become a tougher grader in the last few years. And so now you're probably wondering, okay, well, how exactly is a quality score calculated? And this graph, it looks a little complicated here. It's not necessary that you understand all the details of this, but basically what I did here was I reverse engineered sort of Google's quality score formula using just some simple, it wasn't really simple, but just using some regressions and math. And basically what I found was the quality score, has everything to do with the click-through rate of your ads in comparison to the expected click-through rate for a given ad position. So, for example, say you're in the 3rd ad spot on the page. Google then expects ads that are in the 3rd position on a page to have at least a click-through rate of 3%. So if your keyword and ad combo can beat that expectation, then you can expect to have a higher quality score. If you fail to beat that 3% expected click-through rate, you'll get a lower quality score. And again, it varies by ad position. So, obviously ads at the top are predisposed to getting higher click-through rates, and ads at the bottom are predisposed to getting lower click-through rates. The point is you have to do better than average. And that's why I think this is all a game. We can't all be winners. But you need to be above the average, and it's certainly possible because the bar is low. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. So, one of the cool things about having these high quality scores, it's not just about being the first ad on the page. I mean, that's a huge benefit, don't get me wrong, but there's another really awesome benefit about having high quality scores. It has to do with Google rewarding you with huge discounts on your cost per click, as a thank you for creating great ads and keywords, and conversely, they actually penalize keywords that that are kind of crappy, and they give them a penalty with charging them much more for cost per click. Let me explain how this works. Again, if you're new to AdWords, this could be potentially a complicated example here, but the key takeaway is that the price you actually pay if someone clicks on your ad is inversely proportional to your quality score. So, meaning if you have a very, very high quality score that's above average, you'll get a huge discount on the cost per click. If you have a very, very low quality score like 1 or 2 or 3, you'll be penalized with a huge cost per click that is much higher than the average. Again, this is Google's way of rewarding good behavior and sort of penalizing, irresponsible behavior. This chart kind of summarizes the extent of the discounts and penalties that Google will apply to your cost per click according to the quality score of your ads and keywords. And so, on average, remember how I was saying that the average quality score across all the keywords on Google is 5 out of 10. All right. So, if relative to the average value, if you have a above average, 7, 8, 9, 10 quality score, your cost per clicks will actually be discounted, by up to 50%. But here's where it gets horrible. Like, it's great to be above average, but it's horrible to be below average. So if you happen to have a low quality score, 1, 2, 3, 4, then your cost per clicks will be inflated by as much as 400% relative to the Google benchmark. So just trying to explain, why this is so important. Let's talk about another, if I haven't convinced you already that quality score is super important, this should make it even more clear. So another issue here is that low quality score ads, if you're getting a low quality score, it means it's not a great ad. And so Google doesn't even bother showing, ads that are useless. If users aren't clicking on your ads, it means your ads suck. So why would Google bother showing sucky ads to their users? If they're not going to make any money, remember they only make money if someone actually clicks on your ad, and if these ads are just kind of annoying to users. So this chart here kind of illustrates this point in a very clear way. I'm showing something called impression share. So impression share is an AdWords metric that's kind of like the market share of your ads. So say you're selling, I don't know, software development services, okay? So the impression share metric means what percentage of the time do your ads show up relative to the number of times people actually searched for, software development services. So the key point here is, just because you've told Google that you're interested in a particular keyword, Google makes no promises that they'll ever even bother showing your ad. They'll only show your ad if your ad is awesome. So this blue line sort of summarizes everything you need to know, which is to say that as your quality score increases from 1 to 10, the probability of your ad actually being shown to a user almost triples. So, bottom line, crappy ads, Google doesn't even bother them. So you need to have great ads. So at this point, you're probably wondering, okay, so is there an advantage to being sort of in position 1, 2, 3, 4? Obviously, ads at the top of the page get more clicks because they're in more prominent positions, but do ads in different positions convert to sales, more at a higher rate than clicks, from ads that are at the bottom of the page? And so I looked into this, did some research here, and the answer is that there's no difference. So meaning, if someone clicks on you from average position 2 or 4 or 6, like if you, regardless of where your ad is, I did some regression on looking at the search conversion rate versus the average search ad position, and I didn't see any correlation saying like, oh, the number 1 spot converts like way better than the 6th spot. So basically, you get this flat line here. So when you the purpose of paid search here actually isn't just to buy clicks. It's that makes Google rich. I want to make your business rich, and so the purpose of paid search advertising is actually to maximize profits. And a good question that comes up all the time is like, can raising your quality score impact sort of the cost per lead or cost per sale? Because we want to get that as low as possible and as profitable as possible. So what's the relationship between quality score and my actual cost per action, like leads and sales? So again, recently I looked at a few $100 million of data, and what I found here was that improving your quality score will, on average, see a huge reduction in the cost per action of your advertising campaigns. The primary reason for this is because higher quality scores result in those dramatically lower click prices. Here's the same data on just a slightly different chart. The key takeaway here is that, remember the average quality score was 5, but if you get that up to a 10, you'll see on average an 80% discount versus a 64% penalty if you're at 1 in terms of your costs per conversion. Every point increase or decrease in your average in your average quality score will result in a 16% increase or decrease in your average cost per action. So if you were to sort of add up all of the epiphanies and evidence that I've presented here, my view here is that ads with low click-through rates, actively trying to say like, oh, I don't want everyone to click on my ad. I just want a small number of people to click on it. So that is called the low CTR strategy, and I think it is ludicrous. It's a losing bet. It's based on everything I know. It will be very, very hard for that strategy to work. If it is working for you, like if you're really happy with the performance of your low click-through rate campaigns, what I can guarantee you is that you would be even more happy if you could kind of fix those click-through rates and fix those quality scores. So let's just kind of recap what we've been talking about here. If your ads have below average click-through rates, you'll have below average quality scores. All right. Now, this is like one of these dish commercials where it's like, if you have this, then all these bad things are going to happen. Well, here are the bad things that are going to happen. If you have low quality scores, your ads are gonna get low prominent spots. You'll be showing up towards the bottom of the page, which means you're gonna get fewer clicks on the keywords that are interesting for you. Oftentimes your ads won't even be displayed at all. Like Google makes no promises that they reserve the right to not show crappy ads, and crappy ads get shown like 3 times less frequently than great ads. You're going to get penalized. There's an idiot tax of 400% higher average cost per clicks for those low quality score keywords relative to the average. And similarly, this idiot tax applies to, it's a 64% higher cost per conversion too. And again, the reason for that increase in conversion, it's not that the ads convert any better in different positions. It's that the clicks are so much cheaper if you have higher quality scores, and so the cost per click definitely plays an impact on your cost per conversion formula. All right, so if you're believing me, if you're with me here, that the low CTR strategy is sort of the losing strategy, then what's the winning strategy? Winning. So basically, it's to do the opposite, which is to be super, super picky with your keyword selection. Only pick the keywords with super high commercial, purchase intent that's like so related to your business, and then write the most compelling ads and offers that's going to compel your prospective customers. It'll make them click on your ads and make you create and take you up on those offers. And I'm going to show you all about that in this webinar. So this brings us to part 3 of the webinar. So we've kind of gone over in detail sort of the AdWords auction, like the rules of the game. Like if you're going to go to the casino, you at least need to know the rules of the game. Now at this point I'm going to talk to you about some great strategies for writing the most awesome PPC ads and offers that are going to get you above average results, right? Remember, there's above and below average advertisers. You need to be remarkable. You need to win at AdWords. I want you all to strive to be above average, and here's how to do this. So the first epiphany here, or actually the 8th epiphany, we're going to have a lot of epiphanies, guys. The 8th epiphany here is that Google expects way more of your ads than you might realize. So let's take this example, kind of a hypothetical example here, where you've got 2 ads, ad A and ad B. Both have similar number of impressions. Both are in a similar ad position. One of them has sort of like a 1.4 click-through rate. The other one has 2.1 click-through rate. So which of these 2 ads is the winner? It's a trick question. The answer is that both of these ads suck. Neither of these ads is a winner. They're both losers. Not even the 2.1 click-through rate ad, which was beating the 1.4 click-through rate ad, like they're both losers. And the reason is because it's just below the average. It's not a good click-through rate. Google has certain expectations of your ads, and it's higher than you might realize. Recently, I did some research into kind of figuring out, again, some reverse engineering, crazy math stuff. WordStream will do this for you, so you don't have to. But the key takeaway here was that Google actually expects your ads to be clicked on a great deal, and actually they made $50 billion in advertising revenue. So I guess they have high expectations for lots of people to click on these ads, and if you're in, like, say, I don't know, the third position, they want to see roughly a 3% click-through rate. In literature, there's this notion of sort of like seeing. It's difficult to see the forest for the trees. And I think what they mean by this idiom is that sometimes it can be difficult to see a broader picture, when you are kind of surrounded by a mass of detail. It's difficult to see the forest for the trees. And so in AdWords, it's definitely difficult to see the forest for the trees, because what you're seeing all this information in your own AdWords account. Okay, I've got ad 1 with 2% click-through rate, ad 2 with 1% click-through rate, and naturally you think, oh, the 2% ad is winning, and so it's the winner. But what you're not seeing is all the other millions of accounts out there that are kicking your butt. And so here's Jackie Chan. He's like, oh my God, mind blown. Even your winning ad could be a loser. And so in order to win here, you're going to have to figure out what's a good benchmark to be striving for. What's a good click-through rate? And I think you might be surprised. So going back to that research that I was showing you earlier, here's sort of what Google expects of you based on my research. Here's sort of like the more detailed picture. We'll just keep this between us. But basically, what I found was that there was a lot of variance. So there was, some people were doing much better than the average, and other people were doing much worse. And so, so just using the power of math, I did a little bit of, grouping here, and kind of figured out sort of, okay, so what does it take to be sort of a remarkable, profitable, awesome, insanely great advertiser? And what I did was I just, looked at sort of the bottom 50%. So that, if your click-through rate is below the expected click-through rate, for all the reasons that we talked about earlier, life will not be great. I mean, it could, or alternatively, if you think life is great, it could be much better, so much better. But look at this here. I'm kind of looking at the top 5%, top 15%, and the top 1% of ads have click-through rates on their ads, like across their account, that are up to 6 times higher than the average, and I call those advertisers unicorns. I call them unicorns because they are beautiful and rare creatures, and you should aspire to be like the top 15, top 5, top 1%. Like, who in life aspires to be in the bottom 50%? No. I want you to be upper middle class here at a minimum. So let's talk about these ad unicorns. Like, how on earth did some advertisers, the top 1%, how were they able to create average click-through rates on ads, which was the key to success here, that were 6 times higher than what Google had expected? Here's the same data again, just kind of breaking it down according to the different ad positions. So like if you're in the, third spot, to be the top 1%, you need kind of a 7.4% click-through rate. So this is just a helpful table to give you some guidelines on what you should be striving for. But basically what I did here was I looked at thousands of unicorns. I looked at accounts where life was so great because they were doing things so right, and I wanted to kind of get a sense for, like, where do these unicorns live? What do they do? How do they, what are the elements in common among truly great ads that generate 6 times the expected click-through rate, these unicorns? And no one's ever done any research on this before, and so this is like groundbreaking research from WordStream. And basically I found that there were like 4 common denominators. Okay, so we've already talked about this first one here previously. The first one has to do with going after keywords with the highest commercial intent. So like, stainless steel dishwasher, or best internet marketing software, or toaster oven reviews. Like accounts, the keyword selection for these unicorns was very targeted. They went after keywords where the intent of the searcher was clearly to buy something. They avoided at all costs, these question and informational keywords like who is Thomas Edison or when is the election. Like, that's stuff where someone is just looking to learn. They're not looking to buy something right now, and so they're going to be a lot less likely to want to click on any ad. And so then you'll get this low click-through rate, and then you'll just get killed. Obviously, there's a huge difference between, when's the election. My point is that it can be a little bit more subtle. So, like, a lot of companies think that the word web development is actually a, commercial term. They're like, I got to rank on web development. That's what my business does, right? Well, no. Web development is actually a horrible keyword for you to be going after if you're a web development shop. Because that is actually a informational search. They could be looking for anything, like what is web development? I could be looking for web development jobs, or I could be looking for web development software. I could be just like a student looking to learn more on how to be a web developer. So like, you gotta really think about these keywords and eliminate the ones, be super picky. Like there's 3 billion searches happening on Google every day. The goal isn't to try to show up on all of them. It's to show up on the ones that are super relevant. So like Boston web design firms. Now, you see how the commercial intent there is so much stronger? They're actually looking for a list of web design firms to choose from for their project. And so that's the kind of thing where, the keyword selection makes all the difference. You can also use these things called negative keywords. That's going to prevent your ads. It kind of excludes your ads from showing up on search queries containing these additional words. So like if the user searches for like Boston web design firm jobs, the word jobs could be used as a negative. So you could exclude that person. If you only sell in Boston, or you could apply like free or software or New York. Like this will help reduce the amount of impressions. Like more is not better, less is better actually, and so reduce the number of ad impressions, but increase the click-through rates, of the ad impressions that you do get that are like exactly what you're doing. So. Another kind of a question people asked me was, what about dynamic keyword insertion? Like, can I use this tactic called dynamic keyword insertion? Will this, be my, meal ticket to the unicorn land? Well, so first, just for the beginners here on the call, let's just kind of discuss what is dynamic keyword insertion. So basically, dynamic keyword insertion, it's a powerful ad writing strategy where, as you're writing the ad, you put this kind of squiggly bracket keyword : couches, and what Google will do is it'll substitute sort of what it was that the user typed in, in the search box. It'll substitute that for the word that is highlighted here within the squiggly brackets in yellow. So like if someone searches for blue couches, and if that triggers your ad, the headline will read, "Great prices on blue couches." So the question is, does this work as a tactic, for these unicorns? And here's what I found. This has to do with sort of the relative frequency, of ads with or without dynamic keyword insertion, and we're looking at sort of the, click-through rates going from average to top 15%, top 5%, and top 1%. And what I found was that, dynamic keyword insertion is actually pretty powerful at giving you a slightly above average ad. It's basically a ticket to the middle class. But when you zoom in to the top 5% or top 1% of ads out there, those ads that did 5 or 6 times the average click-through rates were much less likely to be using dynamic keyword insertion. Rather, they're more likely to be using, great offers, like, marketing, like a unique selling proposition, a guarantee, something that was really compelling as opposed to just a dumb computer trick where you kind of substitute the word that people were searching for, like in your headline. So, don't forget the marketing component of search engine marketing. Like, you still have to put your marketing cap on and figure out, what will it be that will really get your customers excited. We'll talk more about that in just a second, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the use of ad extensions. And the reason is because, like, I've probably read maybe 1,000 articles on, like, why ad extensions are so important for paid search success. And for the new people on this call, I just wanted to first explain what are these ad extensions. Well, they're kind of like these ad accessories. Basically, you have, your basic search ad here, but then you can kind of bling them up with all this additional, site links like free shipping, personal engraving. Here's another example. You can use like address information in the form of an extension. You could even add images to your ads to kind of make them pop, or add a clickable call button on mobile ads. All these there's dozens of them. I'm not going to go through all of them, but the point is there's lots of these cool things that you can accessorize your ads with. And the question is, like, is this the key to being a unicorn? Like, if I just add this call extension, will I be a unicorn? Well, did some research, this kind of comparing the quality scores of ads with and without with and without site links. And what we found was that, they definitely help. Like, using those ad extensions will definitely have a positive impact on your campaigns. But I wouldn't call them game changers. Like, it was more like a 5 or 10% uplift, which, I'll take that. But, like, I want you guys to shoot bigger. Like I want you to do 5 times better, not 5% better. So we'll use these ad extensions, but there's more to it than just ad extensions. You can't just bolt on these bells and whistles onto a crappy ad. You need to have a great ad. We'll talk about that in just a second. Here's sort of a similar chart showing, like, do ads with with ad extensions get clicked on more? And the answer is yes, they do. Slightly, we're talking like a few extra percentages of click-through rates within the top 3, ad positions. And then no impact at all in positions 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because those ad extensions don't show up in lower positions. It's only for the more prominent ads. But again, small uplift, not a game changer. So then, like, how do we write unicorn ads? Like, if all conventional wisdom is to say, like, use dynamic keyword insertion or use ad extensions, and I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying, like, yeah, they help, but it's not getting you to, like, 3, 4, 5, 6 times better ads. So how on earth do you write these ad unicorns? And it's actually pretty easy, surprisingly easy. The reality is that most of the ads out there, they suck. Look at this ad kind of pack of 4 ads for a search on big data solutions. And I'm sure you've all seen this. The ads are all the same. Every one of these ads, it's like big data solutions, big data solutions, big data solutions, big data solutions. Like, none of these are kind of differentiated in any way. And so the solution, like what I found to be the most effective trick or tactic in terms of creating these unicorn ads, is to create what I call these emotional ads. Now, I actually have a name for this. I call this hitting an AdWords jackpot. See, like, let me go do that again. See how it looks like I hit a row of lucky 7s here? I hit a row of big data solutions. So I'm the winner. I'm the winner in 2 ways. One is because they all look the same, and it looks like so I hit the jackpot. But also, I hit the jackpot because this is a really valuable opportunity to kind of to rise above all the other clowns that are advertising on this particular keyword. Here's just another example. I love this one. I've hit a row of iPads. Doesn't that look like one of those slot machines in Vegas? But anyways, I digress. One of the smartest men in paid search that I know is a guy named Perry Marshall. Like, there's not a lot of people out there that I can say actually teach me a lot of interesting stuff. Perry Marshall is probably one of two people. So if you don't know him, you should follow him on Twitter and visit his site. But basically, he nailed it. He has this tactic called the Swiss Army knife tool for creating emotional ads. It's just a structured brainstorming technique wherein you kind of list out your customer, something that your customer loves, something that he hates. You have to describe who you are, as well as your customer's best friend and the customer's worst enemy. And the point is to then kind of take these entities and then draw lines connecting the different entities and try to come up with emotionally charged themes that connect these different actors. So let's give you an example here. So worst enemy husband, worst enemy mistress. So what Perry comes up with is something like, who's your husband sleeping with? Is he sleeping with her right now? Get revenge and a smile on your face. Badmarriagerevenge.com. So do you see how this is not the same as all the other ads? Like, I just did a search here, Boston divorce lawyers, and I hit a jackpot. All these ads are the same. But Perry's ad, his ad is a unicorn. It gets 6 times the expected click-through rate, and so life is great for his client. You need to put your thinking cap on and try to not be like all these other clowns and really try to figure out what it is that they're looking for, what's the intent of the search, and not just like repeat it back in a keyword, but really get to what they're really looking for and reflect that back in an ad that they'll have no choice but to click on, So now you're thinking like, so one of the key observations here I had is that, epiphany number 13, you actually need to do a lot of ad testing in order to get this right. It doesn't come it doesn't come automatically. It's actually kind of a learning process. So if you want to be the top 1%, by definition, you're going to have to try out 100 different ads to find this one unicorn. And here's the same data, sort of, in terms of the ratios. Like, if you want to be in the top 5% of advertisers, on average, you're going to have to try out 20 different ads. If you want to be the top 1%, you need 100 different ads, So it just has to do with relative abundance. We can't all be above average, and so you're going to have to do a little bit of work. But I know you're thinking, I already have 100 ads in my accounts, and none of them are a unicorn. Okay, so here's a real classic mistake of search marketers. They think they're testing 100 ads, but really they're only testing one ad. So take a look at the difference between this ad here, how to write a book, fast, and this one here, how to write a book fast. So do you see the difference between those two ads? It's really subtle. It's there's a comma, in the headline, and the other one doesn't have a comma. That's it. That's the only difference. So a lot of people might think, oh, these are different ads. I'm testing out lots of different ads, but really, this is just one ad. One of them has a comma, and the other one doesn't. So these all count as one. When I say we're trying out different ads, I'm saying different offers, different guarantees, different unique selling proposition. What makes you so great, better than everyone else? Traditional marketing, this all is just one ad. So the next thing has to do with effort. Now, you're probably discouraged. Like, this is going to take forever. How am I going to, try out 100 different ads? Well, the answer is it's actually not as hard as you think. The bar is very low. Most small businesses, a lot of them are taking the blue pill. They're not all that active. They have on average maybe. Here's some data for you. 18 ads in the typical small business account. So just 18. Now, what I've found in analyzing different accounts is that 85% of the impressions are generated from just 5% of your ads. Okay, so a few ads typically soak up the lion's share of the ad impressions in your account. So if you only have 18 ads in your account, as does the typical small business, you only need to write one. Like one spectacular ad can get you there, more or less. So let's just sort of continuing on here. so we've talked a lot about sort of getting the ads, getting the click-through rate up, but it's not just about getting clicks to your site. You actually need to turn sort of these clicks into your website into sales and leads to grow your business. And I remember earlier I was showing you some like typical conversion rates of like 2, 3, 4, 5%. I need you guys to do better than this. I want you to do 2 or 3 times better than the average, and I want to make sure that every one of your clicks sort of matters. And so here's how you do this. And the first thing is it has to do with, ignore everything that you've ever read about conversion, rate optimization fairy tales. I mean, they're so dumb. Like I've probably read this story 100 times, or maybe even 1,000 times over the last few years. Basically, the story goes like this: 1, we changed, we changed the color, the button color, or the spacing, or an image, or some font type, and then, lo and behold, we got a 5% increase in conversions. Now, I actually did an interesting test the other day where I was comparing sort of the exact same page where it was like an A/B test where A was the same as B. Okay, there was no difference in the 2 pages, and I did a race, and sure enough, one of them was the winner, and then later on it became a loser. And so the point is that there's going to be variance on any test. Okay, like no matter what, like even if you have thousands of visitors to your site, there's going to be variances, and this just happens regardless of whether or not you change the button color from blue to red. And so I think what's happening is that we're deluding ourselves. We want to believe that this, hard work of changing the button color or changing the font, we want to pat ourselves on the back and say like, oh, high five, we're awesome. But in reality, we're just deluding ourselves. Like these small gains are just, most of the time I find it's just noise. And so here's Morpheus saying like, what if I told you to quit mucking around with the button colors? Like small changes on your offers and landing pages will result in small changes to your conversion rates. I'm not saying like that this is not helpful. Like it's possible that if you have a butt ugly page and you made it much nicer, it could potentially help. But there's a very high chance that the percent increase that you think you got it isn't as great as you think it was. Now, I call this sort of rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, as an alternative, what I have to propose has to do with being a bit setting the bar higher. But in order to do this, we kind of need to know what the benchmarks are. So what is a good conversion rate? All right, so here's, I did some research into my accounts, wanted to know what is a typical conversion rate for advertisers on AdWords. And so, again, just like the click-through rate story, there's a lot of variance. Like some of them do very badly, like less than 0.5%. But, some of them do really, really well. Like the top 10% of advertisers have conversion rates that are 11.45 and above, and potentially much higher than 11.45. And so, again, back to like this whole notion that AdWords is a game. The game here is to be in this top 10% and not in this like bottom quartile. So yeah, similar analysis, sort of trying to figure out what's remarkable versus what's average. And what we find is that if you can just be the top 10% of advertisers, you can expect to get a conversion rate that is 3 to 5 times higher than the average in your industry. Now, you're probably wondering, like, like Larry, my industry is like this specific, I don't know, finance or something. Like, how do I know that this holds true in my industry? So, fair point. I kind of broke it out. I did a little bit of work here to look to see like how do conversion rates vary from like legal to B2B to finance to e-commerce. Like, sure enough, there are differences in the median conversion rates across different industries. But this notion of like the top 25 or top 10% of advertisers doing 3 times the average, that was a rule that stayed steady across all the industries. Now, here's Jackie Chan again. He's making another appearance in this webinar. He's saying to aim for 2 to 5% increase. That's 2 to 5 times increases, like multiples, not 2 to 5%. So setting the bar higher. And so changing the button colors is not a good strategy for getting us there. And so again, I did some research to figure out like why are these landing pages doing so well? How are they doing 3 times the average conversion rate? And I'm going to share with you exactly sort of how this works. Like, what do these amazing landing page unicorns look like? And so I'm just going to give you an example from my own history of doing paid search. I've been doing paid search for my own business, WordStream, for like the last 6 years. Up until like 2 years ago or so, we were like all the other dumb software companies out there. When you would get to our website, they would say something like, try it for free. Try the software out for free. Like, how original. You're a software company, and your offer is to try the software. Well, I consider myself a reasonably intelligent marketer, but it took me a while to figure it out that this wasn't actually a great offer. It was because, like, let me get to the point here. What I found out was that most search marketers who were visiting my site weren't necessarily looking to jump into a free trial of some paid search software, product. They were actually looking to know, how am I doing in paid search? Where should what should I do to improve my paid search? And so it got me thinking, and then thinking of, like, in terms of the intent of the searches that were coming to my site, got me thinking that maybe a better offer would be to come up with something called an AdWords grader. So it's like, you can try this out for yourself for free on the as an example. Go to WordStream.com, WordStream.com/Google-AdWords, and you can try out this AdWords performance grader. Basically, what it is it's a free report card. It gives you 40 hours of PPC analysis in just 60 seconds. But the reason why this is so cool is because it was a game changer. This was more aligned with what people were looking for. It kind of told you, like, how are you doing against your competition, and how, like, is your click-through rate any good? Is your conversion rate any good? Like, this was much more in line with what people were looking for. And by changing the offer, this was like a 10x game changer, as opposed to a 2% or 5% change with questionable significance. And like I said, like, this is obvious in hindsight, but and I consider myself reasonably smart. Like, geez, like, why wasn't I doing this like 5 years ago? But sometimes you kind of have to think out of the box and think about, like, what is it that they're really looking for, and really try to figure out an offer that will really, really resonate with these people. And so you might be wondering, like, so now I'm worried. Like, how do I know if my offer stinks? Well, could potentially be a couple symptoms here. One has to do with, like, your conversion rates. Like, if you're getting kind of average or below average conversion rates, 2, 3, 4, 5%, there's a good possibility that your offer stinks. Another idea here is you can just ask your customer. So, in the Contact Us form, just at the bottom of the Contact Us form, just add an additional field saying something like, and what was it that you were hoping for us to help you with today? And sort of do some research on that and try to figure out what it is they're actually looking for, and then try to make a determination of whether or not the offer that you're giving to people is really aligned with what it is they were hoping to talk about. So just asking the customer. Again, it seems obvious, but you would be surprised, how many industries haven't figured this out. So I just wanted to give you a couple more examples here. Here's an example of changing the flow. So by the way, all significant improvements in conversion rate optimization will arise from changes to your flow. So in this case, I changed the flow from running a trial to running a free report. That made a 10x difference. Here's another example of changing the flow as opposed to, say, like changing the button color. So here's a software company. They're saying, like, you're just steps away from downloading the #1 trading platform, and you have to then fill out this form and register and blah blah blah, and you end up losing like most of the people here on this form. So a way to change the flow here that was really clever is to employ sort of like this reverse funnel approach. So what's the reverse funnel approach? Basically, you flip it around so that you take down that wall, tear down that wall, and just make your software downloadable, and you run the installer, you download and install the product, but at the very last minute, like right about once you're done running the installer, it then prompts you to say, like, now register your software by getting a free registration code here. So you see what they've done here is they're kind of holding you hostage. Like you've invested 5 to 10 minutes into like getting this thing set up. There's an anticipation building, and at the very last minute, you're asking them to register the software. This is a 10x game changer, guys. I'm sorry that all these offers are sort of in software. You're going to have to use your imagination a little bit, thinking outside of the box. But there are examples of how you can change your offers and resulting in sort of these big 10x increases. So yeah, here's a third and final example that I want to show you. If you can either change the flow or you can allow them to change the flow. So like this one, again, it's very powerful. It's kind of combining, like the copy is clearly using like Perry's kind of emotional charged headlines, connecting different actors, like addiction is an illness. It needs a medical solution. Are you struggling with addiction? Does someone you love need help? Do you need help now? Like, this is a very powerful example of a landing page that had a ridiculously high conversion rate because it's incorporating elements of the emotion and the flow ideas that we were talking about, and then this is amazing. So let's move on to epiphany number 18, which is, you're going to have to try out different landing pages and try out different offers in order to find this unicorn. You're going to have to not be like this annoying Dawson Creek guy. I'm already doing all the conversion things. Well, no, that's the same landing page with a kind of different spacing, and so that counts as one. And again, it's not as hard as you think. Typically 80% of your traffic will go to 10% of your landing pages. So in the case of small businesses that have an average of 3 landing pages, you actually only need 1 killer landing page, and that'll soak up 80+% of your traffic, and life will be great. So yeah, and I just want to reiterate, it's not like everything that I'm talking about. I realize it's contrary to what everyone else says, but I'm telling you that you actually don't need dozens of landing pages. And here's one does not simply send all traffic to one landing page. Oh yeah, well, I did some research, looked at the conversion rates, trying to figure out, do advertisers with hundreds of landing pages do much better than advertisers with 1 or 2 or 3 landing pages? The answer, it doesn't matter. Look how flat that line is. The conversion rate doesn't seem to matter whether you have 10, 20, 200 landing pages. On average, it's the same. So there you go. So we're kind of at the end of the presentation here. I wanted to talk a little bit about mobile and remarketing, but I don't think we're going to have time for that. But the point here is, just to summarize what we've been talking about today, who should use paid search marketing? hopefully everybody, it's just a matter of picking a narrow set of high commercial intent keywords that are relevant to your business. We talked at length about how AdWords actually works, sort of in terms of the auction and how to make sure that your ads are showing up and that you're getting prominent positions, and how to get the lowest cost per click and lowest cost per conversions. So that's I think that was probably worth the price of admission. Then we went on to sort of winning at this AdWords game, like, writing crazy ads and amazing offers, and trying to be remarkable, as opposed to that AdWords jackpot where everyone else was kind of doing the same thing. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about WordStream. Thank you so much for attending today. WordStream, my company, we have a great offer for you today. It's that landing page grader, the AdWords Grader product that I was talking to you before. You can visit it at www.wordstream.com/Google-AdWords. Basically, what it'll do is it's actually aligned with a lot of what we were talking about scoring the performance of your account, trying to figure out, am I above average or below average? Am I winning or losing? And so it will allow you to get a basic AdWords audit in under a minute. And it's based on all these different key metrics like click-through rates and conversion rates and quality scores, and compares how you're doing against other companies of similar size and spend in your industry. We also have a new offering called the WordStream Landing Page Grader, which kind of dives deeper into the conversion rates of your landing pages and tries to figure out if your landing pages are great or if they suck. Our paid offering is a PPC management platform called the 20-Minute PPC Workweek. We're going to find all the low-hanging fruit in your account. We do a ton of math. As you can see, we're great at math. All you need to do is just review and approve the findings. It's super quick, easy, and powerful. And you can download a free. You can run a free trial of this thing at www.wordstream.com PPC-free-trial. All right, thanks everyone for joining us today. This has been a great opportunity to chat with you, and I really appreciate the time. Thanks, and have a great day. Goodbye.